Parallax, where we look at life from how we work. Joining us today is Don Williams. He is General Manager of Container Painting and Repair, CPR repairs and paints dumpsters around the Maryland area. Talk a little bit about what kind of work you guys do.
We repair trash cans, or we paint them, we weld them, we replace the lids, the wheels. If a lot of them rust out at the bottom because of all the stuff that gets thrown in them, so we spend quite a bit of our time cutting off old bottoms and slapping on new bottoms, new lids, just refurbishing them. So you take them from one customer, give them to the next. They gotta look good, you know.
So you'll be doing that. You'll take a dumpster and move it from one customer to like if a business closes or something? Or?
Sometimes we do. We deliver them, but we never take them from one customer to the other. We bring them back to the shop, refurb them, and then send out.
So do you need to scrape the old paint off and put new paint on?
Yeah, we hit it with a wire wheel. We don't take it down to the bare metal, but we get off all the old stickers and flakes and rust, stuff like that.
So what does a typical day look like for you?
We start around 5:30 in the morning, and we work at a shop where they bring in probably 30, 40 cans a day off the street, but yet they deliver probably 20, 25. So throughout that time, we have to pull them cans in, get them painted up, put back online, try to get done about 3 o'clock.
And you'll cut the bottom off?
Completely off.
How do you talk about that process?
What we do is we flip it over on its back, and we leave the front corners and the back corners so it'll sit level inside, and then we cut up to about 4 inches high all the way around, because the new bottoms have 6 inches high, so then we just sit it right in, weld it all the way around, weld the 4 corners, and it's good to go.
What does the bottom look like? I mean, is it rusted out?
You get a lot of holes in the bottoms of trash cans, plus from picking them up and then setting them back down, they forever poke holes in the bottom of them where the feet are. It's you know, you're putting a lot of stuff in there.
What kind of device do you use to turn these cans upside down?
Forklift, a rather big one. But then usually we flip them back over by manpower because it's easier to just get behind them and flip them back over than to try to wrestle them out and flip them over.
Got it. Okay. Oh, so you'll flip it like
Yeah.
you don't lift it up like the way.
No, well, we use a forklift sometimes, but to do the work, we usually just flip it over on the ground, put the bottom on, weld it, flip it back up, weld it back, and send it on its way.
Is that the biggest kind of repair that you do?
Well, on that kind of dumpster, but we also do the roll-off dumpsters, like the construction site dumpsters or your large packers out back of like malls and stuff like that.
Right.
And sometimes we put floors in them, which are quite large, and we'll wrap the whole outside because it rots all the way down the side. So,
How did you get into this?
it's a family business, actually. It started with my uncle, my grandfather, and my father, and then me.
When did you start?
I started painting trash cans probably in 8th, 9th grade after school, going out and spraying them with a little hand sprayer.
Talk a little bit about being part of a family business like that. What was it like coming out and working with Dad?
Honestly, Dave, I'd like to tell you it was nice and rosy, but it caused most of my family not to speak to each other most of the time. There's years and years of people. I mean, I always had a lot of pride. We have family members from Alabama all the way up through New York, as far west as Mississippi, all in the same line of business. And for many, many years, there were no family gatherings. There's always some bickering. People didn't want to talk to each other, but a lot of that's ironed itself out.
Talk about painting a trash can.
Well, let's see. First, we pull up to it. We get out our grinder, which is just a wire wheel on a little DeWalt 4.5-inch grinder. Fire it up. You go over the can, make sure you knock off any debris, any flaky paint, hit any rust spots. Get the stickers real good. You don't want the flaky stickers. Prop the lids up because you don't want to paint the lids. Paint everything up. Stick a wet paint sign on it so somebody don't walk by and lean on it. We've paid for a few jackets and purses along the way,
What kind of paint do you use?
It's all water-based paint. Generally, it's a Chem Aqua type mixture that helps with the chemicals, because you get a lot of stuff on a dumpster that will bleed through the paint, and they don't want to have to put 3 or 4 coats on it. And we don't want to have to. If we're going to drive up on site and paint, we want to be able to do 10, 12 a day. We can't sit and watch paint dry, as they say.
So what's a normal customer? Is it like a one-off, like a fast food restaurant, or is it a mall, or is it a larger kind of company that you work with?
We deal mostly with like Waste Management and Republic Services and the larger trash haulers of the nation. We try to tie into their customer base through dealing with them. So a lot of times we won't deal with anybody smaller because we don't want to step on their toes, or that's why we don't have trucks to carry cans. Sometimes we don't want to look like we're crossing any boundaries to where we're stepping on their toes or invading their business.
Yeah, so we've talked a little bit about when a can comes into your warehouse, where your work facility, but you do a lot of work out in the field.
Yes, we do. Probably spent about 10 years of my life doing the street work, we call it, which is when different customers call into Waste Management and say, hey, we need a lock on our dumpster, or we need a door, a lid, and then they'll send us out to check on it.
So I'm sure, since you've been doing this for a long time, this is probably far back in the past, but at some point you're like, I've got to get inside a dumpster and it's full of garbage. And talk about that first time where you're like kind of squicked out.
I'll tell you a funny story. Long time ago, first time we ever had to start power washing trash cans. And this is when I was probably 19, 20 years old. So I was not really keen on getting all filthy inside of a trash can. And we're flipping them over, and the forklift driver's bringing me the cans, and flipping them over, and I'm washing them, and I'm getting caked with, crud. And as the forklift driver's bringing the next can, she looks at me and she said, "What's on your shirt right there?" And I look down, there's a big cockroach just standing there looking at me, and flicked them off. And probably 2 weeks later, I had shingles, and I think it was all mental, but I'm blaming it on the immune system being weakened from that cockroach and all his trash friends.
So let's talk numbers a little bit. Since you're managing a bunch of folks, you got 22 people who work with you. How many dumpsters a week are you working with?
Rough estimate around 200, give or take a couple. Yeah, it depends on the week. Springtime, summertime, obviously, is ramped up, more busy. If we have a big contract, like if Waste Management gets a county contract and a few hundred cans, then all of a sudden we're going to ramp up and be doing more.
Why repair a dumpster when you can just buy a new one?
For 60% of the cost of replacing a can, you can fix it, refurbish it for labor and parts. Why not save that money if the can is going to be good as new?
All right, Don, thanks so much for joining us today. Don Williams, CPR, Container Painting and Repair. You can find out more about Parallax at parallax005.com. In the meantime, keep it between the white line and the ditches.